Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abassi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. Today, I want to be talking about a topic that came up in the meeting this morning, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to dissect that. I love to dissect stuff here. So, the story was about a man who was an alcoholic and he had ruined his marriage and was um had a strained relationship with his son, and his son was in jail or something, or he was in jail. I can't remember. Anyway, he got a son from his sorry, let me try that again. He got a letter from his 18-year-old son who just very poetically explained how he was always going to be there for this man, and that I it was just like the most encouraging, poetic thing that a son could say to a father, and yet this kid was only 18 years old, and just everything was so perfect. Anyway, the name of the story was called "God Was the Postman," and the story said something like God delivers messages to us each day, and it's up to me to look for it or to see it, to be open to it. And I thought, that seems all well and good, right? That God delivers messages to us and we just have to remain open to it. Well, it makes it sound really simple, and I don't think that it is a simple thing. I think that there's absolutely a lot going on when we're on a day-to-day basis trying to maintain this emotional sobriety. So I was thinking, what does it mean to look for the messages? If I'm going to, you guys know that I'm new on this faith journey, and that's why I like to talk about it, because um I'm figuring it out in real time and I'm talking about it, which is kind of cool. Like years from now, isn't it going to be neat to go back and be like, can you believe that I didn't understand what that meant, or whatever. Um, I like to do the podcast and see how far I've come with things. In the stroke recovery, that first episode is just a perfect recording of how lost and hopeless and scared I was. And today I'm powering through. I have difficult days. It's been very trying for me to be in this Airbnb by myself with the dogs in a strange place. And I've really been working on that inner battle that I'm having. So what I was thinking of today when this topic came up for looking for messages, I was thinking of, yes, I'm going to bring it up again, what's it called? Bucket, the bucket of the empty beer bottles. So, what I was thinking about is, okay, if the bucket with the empty beer bottles and the empty tequila bottle, if they were meant to send a message to me, I didn't get the message for 24 hours. So if I'm looking, just stay with me for this. If I'm looking at the bucket with the empty beer bottles, the first instinct, the first reaction I had to that was not emotional sobriety. It was not based in my program. It was based in my disease and my depression. It was based in the invisible illnesses that I carry with me. and they became an excuse to feed my illness, and rather than an excuse to feed my sobriety, an excuse to feed my emotional sobriety. So, what I was thinking this morning is how messages may be delivered every day, and I need to be willing to look for them. But what is the change that happens? What happened to me in that 24 hours where I was able to see those as a gift rather than an annoyance? To see those empties sitting out there, to be something to be grateful for rather than something to be upset about. And I think what it is there was something that had to resolve itself inside of me. So, what am I trying to resolve in my inner battle before I'm able to translate any sign, anything that could be a sign, if you believe in signs, or, you know, the way that we get messages from God, if that's what you believe, what needs to resolve itself for me to be able to see the message, to hear the message? And I think that this happens. I think that is the thing that happens every day. If I switch the narrative slightly, I like to think of it as the world has already, the world around me is one big message. It's not something that's being delivered to me on a daily basis. It's something that I am trying to tune into on a daily basis. Does that make sense? So, what I heard in the reading this morning about God delivers messages each day if I look for it, I think is incorrect. What I think is that the world around me, I've explained this to you, that my higher power is everything outside of myself. And I believe that the world around me is already my message. It's already been written and it's in front of me always. It's around me and written, and however it's coming, it's broadcasting constantly. The message is broadcasting constantly. It's my job, like a radio, to tune into it and to hear it. And I can only do that is that if I keep adjusting the dial. I have to constantly adjust the dial. And what that means is I wake up in the morning and my human symptoms, my brain, my self-talk, my invisible illnesses, they are trying to switch the channel away. And I wake up, I walk outside with the dogs, that adjusts it slightly back, because nature just does that to me. It feels good. It feels good. It smells good. It sounds good. It looks good. It tunes me back in a little bit. I come in, I grab some coffee, and after I feed the dogs, we get back in bed, and I am tuned into my morning AA meetings for 2 hours usually. And that is really fine tuning that dial and getting me um, on the right station so I can be solid in being able to receive the message. If you know, and and the things that I do throughout the day are going to impact that dial. And I get to make choices throughout the day. If I am self-aware enough, then I can grab a hold of the dial whenever I feel it getting jarred out of tune, I can grab a hold of it using the tools in my program and tune it back in. And the way that I can do that is go back outside. I can pray. I can meditate. And I can do all of these hobbies that I have acquired over the course of the past 2 years since I have been medically retired. So I think that the world is always conveying a message to me. And I have the gift of how I'm going to receive it. If I'm going to let it feed my sobriety or let it feed my alcoholism. Um, it's a choice. It doesn't feel like a choice. A lot of times it feels hard. Choices seem like they come easy. Choices seem like, okay, I'm presented with door one and door two. Which do I choose? Do you remember that old game show where you pick what's behind door one, two, or three? And I always picked the wrong door. That's you know, I get to make choices. I get to choose the wrong door. And I need to back up and give myself a second chance. Okay, what was good for me was not behind door number one, but that's okay. I still get to choose another door. And as long as I don't consider it to be game over as soon as I make the wrong choice, then I still can make another choice, forgive myself, and maybe the next choice I make is going to be the right one for me. Um, but the thing is that those choices, they get ugly, they get scary, and it doesn't always feel good. I feel like a lot of times the choices that I have to make in order to feed my sobriety are ones that I don't really want to pick that door. I don't, it seems like my disease wants me to pick the wrong door all the time. And I have to resolve that inside of me. And and I do that by making a habit of using the tools in the program. All of those things that we're talking about. So, um, I, my sister came to visit me today, which was so nice. And she was here for a few hours and we were talking about all kinds of stuff. And then when she was leaving, I felt the homesickness that I've been talking about for the past few days. I felt the homesickness coming. I actually got it to the point while she was just getting in the car and I could feel it coming so strongly that I got a lump in my throat. Like I didn't want her to leave. And I told her, this is the difference between sober me and working the program and my disease. So she was getting in the car right before she shut the door. I said, I feel it. I feel it coming. And she knew what I was talking about. And she said, why don't you call your cousin? Because there's a cousin of mine that we've been trying to stay in contact better with. And she said, why don't you call our cousin? And I said, at first I hesitated. Why did I hesitate? Because my disease wanted me to hesitate. My disease wanted me to get to start crying, to walk back in the house and feel alone and feel empty and feel homesick. And I looked at her and I didn't say a word. And then I was like, that's a really good idea. That's what I'm going to do. And she said, good. So I said, I'm going to do it right now when I walk back into the house. And so because of that decision to feed my emotional sobriety instead of my disease, that walk back to the house from my sister's car was something that I felt like I was looking forward to calling my cousin, as opposed to how I was one decision away from walking back and feeling just small and vulnerable and sad. I mean, it was one decision and I almost made the wrong one, because that's what my depression, my alcoholism, all of that stuff that blocks me from hearing, seeing, feeling the message around me. These invisible illnesses try to block me from that. And when I have help from another person, sometimes they help push me back into emotional sobriety. Sometimes they help tear away the obstacles that are blocking me from hearing the message. And that's why I lean into community. I lean into fellowship. I lean into connection, because it's been helping me for 9 years and it's not something that I naturally want to do, but it's something that over time I experience the benefits so often that I know if I do this, it's going to feel good. Remember when we used to drink and I started to connect that feeling with, oh, well, I feel sad. If I do this, I'm going to feel good. And then I just keep doing that because I keep feeling good. That's what happens if I connect with other people. If I share with my sister, it's coming. I feel it. I feel the homesickness coming. Then she was able to rip away that that thing that was about to block me, from feeling joy. And she ripped it away for me. But I should correct myself. She didn't rip it away. She said, this is how you can rip it away. And I had a decision. Either I can choose to remove that obstacle and call my cousin and feel joy for the next half hour, or I can not listen to my sister and say, that sounds like a great idea, but I don't want to do it. And then I come back and I'm sad and feeling sorry for myself. It's quite beautiful to think about. And I'm really happy that I took some time today to analyze what what struck me as being a little bit off this morning when I heard that initially, that said, God delivers my messages each day if I look for it, because it didn't quite resonate with me. Something resonated, but not the way that it was said. So I do feel more that the messages are not being delivered. I feel more that the world around me, it's already constructed. The messages are constructed and they're here. And it's up to me to make the decisions to connect with the world around me, to connect with the people around me. And that's how I can remove those obstacles. That's how I can consistently win the battle that goes on inside of me. That is what's happening every day. I feel like the messages aren't being delivered to me every day. Instead, every day, I am trying to what's the word, not scratch away, but deconstruct the walls that just go up around me on their own. And that is my disease. That is my depression. That is something that I've been fighting my whole life. And I'm doing a pretty good job. And I have to say a special thank you to all of you who have reached out to me to tell me that you appreciate my podcast and that you appreciate me sharing my experience, strength, and hope, and my pain, because it's really been, I've gotten a lot of it lately over the past couple weeks. I've gotten so much positive feedback, both in comments in the podcast platforms and friends and family and people on social media. Like, I've really received a lot of positive feedback over the past couple weeks, which has been very timely in such a stressful and painful and symptomatic time for me. So I just want to say thank you. And that's all I have for today. So thank you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.